Thanks for staying with us. So, in the past few days, one major topic has dominated the social media space, which is domestic violence, due to the ugly incident that allegedly led to the gruesome death of Bimbo Ogbonna, the wife of the socialite and auto merchant Ikechukwu Ogbonna, fondly regarded as IVD. Many heartbreaking stories are beginning to unfold on social media space just because of this matter. Many families and friends are saying, please help my mom, help my aunt, help my family. I can't continue like this. I can't let my mother stay in this kind of treatment. And it has endeared many people to this story. Now, the story of IVD and the late Bimbo is quite heartbreaking because reports have it that this is not the first time we're hearing of a domestic violence from that home. That it happened sometime in 2019, and there's been repeated issues of domestic violence, but somehow she's always gone back, which is the very familiar narrative we hear in these kind of situations where people always go back because they feel that they're going back for their children or for their financial security and other things. But today, we're looking at it from the other angle, that now with this story, many people are coming out to say, please help my mother. I want to get my mother out of this, or I want to get my loved one out of this situation. What are your thoughts? Let's start with the IVD story. What's your thoughts on it? And give us a brief background of how the story started for those who have no idea what the IVD story is about. Now, let's Honeypot share the background with us.
All right, so from what we have been seeing on social media, the stories that have been making the rounds, it was said that Bimbo, the late Bimbo, got married to, or she started a relationship, she got into that relationship with IVD at age 18, and that at some point she was giving she gave school fees to IVD, that according to how they said it, that IVD didn't have anything, but, you know, Bimbo's family was better. So, you know, and that at the end of the day, she dropped out of school, and the parents were so concerned, like they would take her back home and they would want to detach her from the boy, but she was going back to him, and well, she got pregnant. And they just had to like support them. They got married. In fact, according to stories online, that the mother had to forfeit, that is Bimbo's mother had to forfeit her car, give it to them because they did not have anything. They were just starting and all that. So it went on like that. And they said that they've been having some, you know, a lot of back and forth. In fact, from some videos, you see that there is IVD2 is complaining about how he's being abused, you know, and then Bimbo too is complaining. Bimbo left and then came back, and there are so many versions. In fact, some people are saying that they are diabolical. Bimbo started going to herbalists so that, you know, so that they can be rich, and that sometimes she will enter the market looking mad, and afterwards IVD will be, you know, tremendously, you know, rich like that. And, you know, it's been like that back and forth. And they now said that this one that led, the last straw that broke the camel's back was that Bimbo wanted to leave. She already has 5 children. She wanted to leave, and she was scared because, you know, what does she take out of the marriage? And that she wanted to take the house, and she had the papers, and that maybe somebody told IVD. IVD came down, and somehow she set the house ablaze, and she was like, okay, you know what, we're just going to, according to the news, and that she dragged IVD into it, but somehow he got himself out, and she got burnt, and she passed on last Saturday.
Painful. Also a part of the story that talks about the fact that probably she's always been suicidal. She's always been suicidal. She had tried several times to take her life. A video came out showing her dancing. She had these bandages on. They said that's how she's been trying to take her life for as long as they remember her. And the violence has been between, that she's more of the violent one. So she's dead right now, but I think we should just take the lessons from the issue and discuss.
So the issue that, I mean, I want to also have a background so to have an idea of what happened. But the truth is that the real conversation is what you said. When you're in a home where you are beating your husband or your husband is beating you, how do you remove yourself? Some people always feel like, listen, you don't understand what we're going through. There's so many factors, because it's almost like a no-brainer to say leave. But when you are in the shoes of the person and they're having difficulty leaving, you kind of see things from a different way. That there are various factors.
Okay.
It could be the children, it could be the fact that my kids are too young, Or if I leave, where will my children stay? My husband could pay me bad. They say, oh, she's the woman that left, so she left, she abandoned you. And then to your child, you look like the one that abandoned them. You know, there are many things women think about before leaving. And so the conversation, I don't want us to condemn somebody for not leaving, but I want us to understand their own situation. And also the fact that when you have a spouse who is allegedly diabolical, they're asking you to do, how much sacrifice should you or should you be willing to make for a spouse out of love?
That one is a fool.
That's another show. How much
Let's talk about this legal.
We start with the beating, then we'll come to the sacrificing issue.
So
I would even like to start with, you know, you have mentioned, you know, you're thinking about the children, you're thinking about this and all that. I think psychologically, people don't even understand that there is something called Stockholm Syndrome. And Stockholm Syndrome is when you are actually, you know, it's a coping mechanism. You're attached to your abuser. And it could be in different situations. It could be coach athletes. It could be relationship. It could be child abuse. It could be anything. So somehow you just develop that interest, that love for your abuser, and you stay there.
Trauma bonding.
So so somehow it's looking to you like, oh, I can't even understand because I can't relate because I've never. But it happens that they're just there and they have grown thick skin to it, and they have developed the love.
You see, there are people that tell us when they go for marriage counseling that no matter all your issues, there's nothing that cannot be resolved. That there's nothing prayer cannot solve. There's nothing you cannot, you know, and no matter how bad it is, there's somebody that has walked those shoes and have been able. So a woman that has that mentality, she's like, okay, this is a problem, right? I can find a way to resolve it. I'll keep talking to him. I'll keep getting family members to talk to him, believing that one day he will change.
So that's why we're trying to change the narrative now, that you are not the Holy Spirit. You do not have what it takes to change any human being. And because most people get into marriage without knowing who they are, knowing themselves, having a form of self-love, anything they see in that marriage, they accept it as a cross. I'm not marrying a cross. I'm not Jesus Christ. He carried the cross for me. I'm not going to carry another cross in the name of marriage or in the name of a man or in the name of a relationship. It's supposed to be enjoyed. When it becomes a cross, I'm going to put it down.
But don't we all have crosses that we carry at some point in our life?
See, I wouldn't call disagreements crosses. Anything that impacts on your mental health is a cross, and you stay there. That's what I would call a cross. So if I have a disagreement with my husband today, we argue, we quarrel, we back each other 2 days, we said, don't I have disagreements with you? I have with everybody. That's a normal way of living where people would disagree. That's not a cross. A cross is that we have issues so bad that my mental health is affected, that we have issues so bad that I'm not able to stand around you. I walk on eggshells around you. I am hurt physically, mentally, socially, financially. That's a cross. So if you find yourself in a situation, and I hear a lot of women say, hey, because of the children, hey, if I leave now, they will be raised in homes, they will be raised in a broken home, blah, 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 blah. Your staying in that marriage is further hurting your children. Psychologically, they are seeing your way of life as the normal. Toxic way of life as normal. Hold on, no. They will end up attracting people who will beat them too, because that's the normal that they know.
But so it's worse when you leave your child.
How is it worse?
Listen, when you leave your child, I know somebody who till tomorrow has not forgiven her mother for leaving her. No, the mother had to leave because of domestic violence.
Yeah.
But she, as a child,
was left behind.
She was left behind, and she still holds that against her mother till tomorrow.
Because the unforgiveness is on her to forgive. So whether she forgives her mother or not, the mother has done what was best for her at the time. Exactly. What if the mother died in that relationship? So you go and deal with yourself that you have a problem of unforgiveness. It has nothing to do with a poor woman who decided to save her life first. So put yourself in that woman's shoe. Understand where this is coming from. That's one. So the blame on, hey, my children, who will take care of them? Who will do this? Understand that you're further damaging them. And they're going to reap the consequences of that, your action of staying there. That's one. Secondly, tell yourselves the truth. You're not staying for those children. You're staying because you do not have the willpower to go. And you just put it on the children, so it will look as if it's about you. Ask yourself, how am I living this life? Am I enjoying this life? Put yourself first for a minute. You cannot love love somebody else when you don't love yourself. You cannot give what you do not have. So my staying in this relationship, is it further damaging my children? Or can I live and be sane enough to raise them in the love that they deserve to have? So consider that.
Let me come to you, honey point.
I would say that, you see, I would take a cue from what BC said. The power is, in you to take your children with you if you want to take your children with you. And I think a lot of one of the issues people have is that, especially for women who have not been working, who don't have any money, they're thinking, oh, so if I take these children with me, how am I going to even survive? Now, how are they going to survive? But what they don't know is that, yes, it will be hard. It will be difficult, but you won't die. What if you die in that marriage? They don't understand that. And then they stay there because of something. And I mean, if we're going to make a reference to the late Bimbo's, story, according to what has been said, allegedly online, she wanted something. She wanted to live with something.
5 children.
5 children. She wanted to live with something because, according to the story again, they said that anytime she was being beaten or abused, that the firstborn was always saying, or one of the occasions was saying that, Daddy, no, please stop beating my mother and all that. Now look at that. So when I saw that, I felt now that she has died, that she has passed, and the father was annoyed and was saying that, oh, you are doing like your mother, you are behaving like your mother, she has taught you this, that. Who is going to take care of them? Will the father take up all of this? I mean, it is just so sad.
There are many layers to this conversation.
Many layers.
Another layer is that we project positivity out there, like the social media facade. Or they will do, everything's going so well. You see a couple, then they look so happy in the pictures.
And they're socialites.
And then they're socialites, and everything looks so good. And I think it's yourself, okay, how do you reconcile a violent man to somebody who looks loving and caring to his family? That's one layer. And that layer is the part of family. How does family help in this kind of situation? If you have a sister, you have a mother, you have an aunt who is being beaten. In fact, we must also talk about men who are being beaten.
Yes, because this one accused.
Yes,
the wife too.
This man too said that this woman beat him up. So there are women who are beating up their husbands, and the men are not even able to talk about it. Because out of the fact that I'm the man of the house, I don't want to come across as weak. So they do a lot to the chest. They're taking so much. So how does family help in this kind of situation?
So I had a family once, a relative one time that the wife was pounding him. The wife was very stocky.
It's not funny.
So any little, he would just collect basbos. His cheek is swallowed today, his head, and he kept lying about it. Now, this did not start in the marriage. It started while they were dating.
Oh.
The whole family begged this Okpokuzo, the big head man, not to marry this woman. This woman will be your death. And I said, no, don't worry now. People fight now. It's part of it. It's part of it. They got married and they had 4 children. And every 2 weeks, because I was at some point, I was in secondary school at the time, I was recording the time they come to settle matter. Every 2 weeks, there will be a very huge fight. The man will carry ice block. I will see this man carry ice block all the time. They'll sit down in the sitting room and they are, talking back and forth and back and forth, back and forth. One of them now, unfortunately, has died.
Oh my gosh.
And the children now have been abandoned. And I sat down one day, I was asking myself, wouldn't it have been better if these 2 people found, went their separate ways? Would it not have been better that they realized that this is not working? Before they entered this relationship, they were aware that 2 of them were toxic for each other. But because they were trauma bonded and there was nothing, even family members tried to separate them on a number of times. Some people are actually very stubborn. When you're coming, they will say you want to, because you're not happy in your home, you want to scatter us, and they don't listen to you. But I think human beings, whether a man or a woman, should begin to take ownership of the sort of life that they want to live.
Okay.
I've realized in science right now, let's talk about how this affects even us as human beings and our bodies, that for every time there's a situation that happens and your body has to revert to either fight, flight, or freeze, your body is releasing toxins that are not good for you, that would work against your health. And if constantly your body is releasing, so once in a while, maybe like a lion comes into this place now and everybody just, your body releases those hormones and you are, scampering. But if your body, imagine if your body has to release those hormones every two weeks, every day. Some people are living under intense toxic conditions. They walk around eggshells around their husband. They are not able to speak up. I had a friend once I visited, and by the time I went to the house, the husband came back. She couldn't even gist with us again. Me and my husband said, let's be going to our house. The atmosphere changed. She was, hey, Daddy, I'm coming. Daddy.
Now, wow.
My husband said, let's go.
So that moment, the toxins have been released.
Yes.
And that's what finally causes cancer.
Depression, all those physical health issues that we need to look into.
Let me go on a break, because when I come back, I'd like to open our phone lines. I'd like to hear from women or even men who are having difficulties detaching. You hear this, because this is not the first time we discuss it on Your View.
Yeah.
We're talking a lot of times.
Yes.
And we say it over and over.
Different cases and all that.
And the question is, why are you not living?
And that we don't even learn from other people's experiences.
So I really like to hear from these stories, women like these who have gone through, who are going through this right now. Please call the numbers on your screen when we come back after the break. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. Please tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag Your View TVC Radio Twitter. I hope the numbers will come on the screen so that you can call us. Because there's an angle I'd like us to take this to. The financial part of it, which you said, success, poverty is something they preach against, they talk against. Nobody wants to be poor. Nobody, and if once you leave that poverty bracket, you don't want to go back there. You understand that, listen, I'm now in this marriage with success. We've built this thing together. We are in this and we are building, and we bought a house, we bought a car. Yes, he's beating me. If I leave, he has more financial muscle.
What do I fall back on?
To take a lot of things from me. I would just go back to being maybe a teller in the bank, or you are thinking of all the indices that made you what you are today. You're thinking to yourself, I don't want to go back to that. Should I just manage so that my children can stay in this private school they've been going? Because would I now take them away from the private school? Or, there are many things, because you're thinking, why do women stay? And it's important that we discuss it and we look at it in real terms.
All right.
You don't want to go back to where you're coming from.
It's the reason I said that, yes, it will be hard. It will be difficult. You will tell yourself, but you will survive. And then I think that saying that, broke people should not be in a relationship, it should start applying to women.
Yeah, I agree.
It should start applying to women. Women should get into marriage having something already that you're doing. And I think marriage these days is about partnership. People are thinking of, okay, so when I bring this to the table, you're bringing this to the table. In other climes, they sign prenups. You cannot say you don't have anything and then you're signing prenup. So I'm saying that. So it is something that is already happening now. And then let's take it back to relationship and all that. When they start the relationship, a lot of people see the red flags, but they are not just doing anything about it. Okay, we've read a lot of stories, and I'm not even sure that when we're done talking here today, that some people will not still die tomorrow because of this violence. Because I think that some people have just turned deaf ears to listening to people and all that.
I'll pick on that red flag thing you said. I'll talk about it, but let me take Loretta's call. Good morning, Loretta. Are you there? Good morning, Loretta. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, this is Lovetta, I think. From Warri.
Yeah,
you're live.
Lovetta from Warri. I'm a lawyer.
You're live. Go ahead.
Mario, I've been watching for ages. Oh, my God. I didn't believe I was going to get through this morning. I just tried. Yeah, I'm listening. Lovetta. Yeah. Lovetta, not Lovetta.
You're listening to the TV. We fast. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. I will know it now. Sorry. Okay, can you hear me?
Very clearly.
Hello?
Please go ahead.
Of course.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm so excited. This is my first time.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, let me just go straight. I'm a lawyer, and we notice that in Nigeria, women think marriage is their identity, is their life. Like we're saying, it's not your life, it's not your identity. Women should have life before marriage, and even in the marriage. And then because they're always scared of what they will lose, how can I leave? Or somebody has to come and take over. They'll take over the house, they'll take over this. At the end of the day, we just lost our life and lost everything. I was a product of an abusive marriage. I was abused. I said, one day I'll bring my story to you, Mariah. Today it takes time, but one day I'll bring my story. Men are terrible. We should learn to tell our daughters, be independent. It's marriage.
Oh, my.
Oh, Sugar, are you there? Lavetta? Oh, I'm so sorry. I really wanted to hear from her.
Red flag.
I was talking about the red flag.
Yeah.
And you see, these red flags are in different ways. We keep talking about red flags, but you see, sometimes we have to understand, we have to define what's a red flag. So I've always said it here that, my husband, one of his downers is the fact that when he's upset, he shouts. And I've seen his father shout. I've seen family how they shout. So to you, that might be a red flag. Like, me, I don't shout at me.
Yeah,
my own house. But me, initially, in the first year of marriage, any small thing, he's shouting and screaming. I'm thinking, I couldn't understand it. I was like frustrated around home. My mom was going on, and his father called me and said, listen, me too, I shout. That's how we are. Wait, listen, after like 5 minutes, But it took me a long time to accept that, okay, this guy will shout and scream, and then after a while, we can
playing
resolve.
again.
But yes, so for some people, it's a red flag because they can be verbally, they'll say that's verbal abuse. So will give you a term, it's verbal abuse. But in the cultural way, okay, he has shouted, so does he stop paying school fees? Has he stopped paying your rent? He's not providing. You weigh your options.
Yeah.
So some people will say, shouting at me, I'm out. This verbal abuse, I'm out of here.
No, so the
others will
question
say,
is,
I can handle that. If that is downer, fine, I can handle that. So we have to define what red flag is.
Yes, so you define it as an individual because we all have our different love languages and different personalities, different threshold of what we can take. We are all different here.
Yeah.
So our red flags are definitely going to be different. Now, the shouting in question, if peradventure you can manage shouting, okay? Some people I can manage shouting, okay? My husband shouts too.
I cannot manage shouting.
Hold on now.
Yeah.
I would be looking for the content of the shouting. So are you shouting and shouting me down? Are you shouting and disrespecting me? Are you shouting and using words that would make me start feeling depressed and hurt? That is the content of what I'm looking. If I know you as just a very loud person, my husband, when he's arguing, we're arguing, our voices are so high. My kids are like, you guys are just arguing. Our voices are high. But the content, can I see disrespect in that shouting?
Exactly.
It's when there is disrespect, that this one don't go past shout because even somebody who is calmly speaking to you can be disrespecting you.
Actually,
I have some people around me who, when they are fighting, you'll be hearing the wife's voice. I'm like, why is this woman always bullying this man? Till one day I got close. Is the man what the man was saying? Me, I would have somersaulted. But we saw the shout and felt the woman was the abuser. Yeah. Take your call, I'll come back.
Let me take this to Larry Wajo. Come on, Larry Wajo. You're from the UK. You're live.
Hello, Murayo.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
How are you, Busy, and everyone over there?
Good morning.
Yes, go ahead.
Three things to say. Yeah. Are you talking about the shouting? Let me start from that. Hello?
We can
go
hear
ahead,
you, sir.
Sir.
Please go ahead.
Okay, yeah. The shouting over here, I will tell you, my ex, why, when we go to court, what she said, verbally abuse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not even shouting, verbally abuse. And that's an offense over here. If you're shouting on I'm telling you, it's a big, big offense. That's number one. Number two, I think Nigerian law has to be changed. In the marriage, let the women, let them have their own rights. When the marriage broke up, maybe 40-50, 30-70, 50-50, something has to be written by the government. The law has to be there. Because there's no law that covers the women. I'm telling you, that's why all the men in Nigeria are doing all these things.
All right, I don't want us to generalize, but thank you, Mr. Larry Wajo. Yes, go ahead.
Oh, wow.
I think we lost it.
Sorry,
Let me
Mr.
quickly
Larry.
finish this red flag issue. So you also will define your red flag or not based on the awareness that you have. There are sometimes you see people being disrespected, but they are not aware enough to understand that this thing is disrespecting
Or emotionally abused.
And they are not aware, they are not in that space. So that person, when you're saying red flag, the person doesn't get it.
Yes.
And that's why they say a woman must know yourself, know what you like, so that when what you don't like comes, you can easily see it and say, I really do not like this one, and set the boundaries.
Because our mothers didn't know.
They didn't know the difference.
They didn't know it was abuse.
Yes, yes, it's normal. It became
shouting.
normal to them. So we are going to be raising young girls now to know what disrespect means.
But are we not the same people saying that they don't have enough that the youngsters today,
Zs.
the Gen Zs today, they don't have enough, what's the word I'm looking for?
Resilience.
Resilience, that's the
not
word.
for abuse.
Well, not for abuse, but they want everything so perfectly done. They don't have
blame
kind of
them.
resilience that
Okay.
our parents had. They don't have that.
them.
So this thing is still individual, it's still an individual thing because you still people, Gen Z, that are being abused too and they're still staying there or something.
Exactly.
And I tell you what, in the past how many months now, I have vented on, TV and talking about, domestic abuse. And I will say that it even beats me when I see people who are not married, who are just in relationship and then still talking about the red flag here. And things are happening. All right, like the other day, I saw on Instagram, some girl heard that the boyfriend was with a girl in the house. And then she could not gain access into the house. And then she just went through the window and started breaking things.
Are you serious?
I'm like, what? Who raised these people? This is a relationship. Did you buy those things? You're going to replace those things. You are freaking going to replaase those things. Are you joking?
Good morning, Hassan. Are you there?
Nonsense.
Hello, Hassan. Are you there? You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Mulad.
Morning.
Please, this is a very sad story
Yeah.
about what happened between the couples.
Yeah.
Please, my advice here is Nigerian women. I know we have very, very good women around. Very, very good women. Very compassionate women. But you see, majority of women in Nigeria, they should begin to disassociate themselves from material concerns in marriage. Stop looking at the marriage that let me get something out of it. What is my own inside this marriage? What am I going to gain inside this marriage? Anybody can be rich. A woman can be wonderfully rich.
Yeah.
A man can be wonderfully rich. You see, the crux of the matter in this issue is property. You are fighting about you want to get hold of the house, and you are fighting over it, and you lost your life. Look, let me tell you, marriage is never a do or die of a thing. It's open, even in Islam.
Tell us.
There is a room for you to divorce. A woman can get a divorce. A man can divorce his wife if there's a problem. Women abuse men. Men abuse women.
Yeah.
So please,
Both ways.
this issue of materialism is the issue in this country.
Thank you,
What am I
Hassan.
talking about?
That materialism is one, but it's not all the issue. Let me give you two scenarios. You're a single lady,
Yeah.
and the fact that you're not in your 20s. Now, if you meet a man now who ticks all the boxes, and I'm not even use you, a woman like you, for example, meets a man in maybe in her mid-30s or in her late 30s or early 40s who ticks all the boxes and it's perfect, and she feels like, I should have married
Finally.
5 years ago, 10 years ago. Finally, I have now married. And then you have 2-3 kids, and 7 years down the line, he starts being violent. A lot of women in that shoe, they stay. Because in their head, I waited for 20 years. I waited for 15 years. And finally, this one has shown up. So the man already knows that, I came as a trophy. I'm a trophy for you because you did not have me. So 7 years, she's reluctant to go back to singleness. Like, I waited for 20 years, I beg. Let me just manage this beating. That's one. So it's not only about wealth. Number two, and I will come to that. Number two, there's a lady I know, her first husband disrespected her and beat her up. She took she listened to people like us or whatever, and then
she
she left. Found a way to raise her daughter, which she was doing. Found love again, was happy that she found love. But this clown
Started beating
started beating her also.
I
The
tell you
second
what,
clown started beating her also.
So why did
Now,
she not
she's reluctant to leave because in her mind, this is the second husband. They'll say, maybe I'm the one with the problem. She doesn't want to leave. So she's choosing to stay in the abusive marriage because she feels that people will say,
Because
I'm
the
problem.
society will say.
So I'm saying, these are the real reasons.
So
the options.
Yes,
where
so
we'll
Mariah,
say.
the thing is when you have self-love, it's about you.
actually.
Who cares what people are saying? You are always looking for validation from people because you don't have enough validation for yourself.
Kai.
Give your validation to yourself. Whoever wants to talk can talk. It's none of your business. As long as you can take care of yourself, you have a good life, you can pay your bills, they will see the happiness in you and they will be murmuring. They will like,
All right.
she's even happy. How dare her be happy without a husband?
Exactly.
Seek validation from within. Give yourself that validation and all these things. And also, This,
Let me let you
okay.
pause. No, you're a coach and you continue. Let me come
Because I've had discussions like this with BC and, you know, we're actually just dishing out advice to people. And I was going to say again that is an individual thing. It is the way you see yourself. So let me tell you something. As a single lady, I have been in relationships and you know that thing. This one is going to be funny now because you see how you get into this relationship and you're like, you're heaving that sigh of relief that, oh, this one has finally come. You will chop breakfast and then you'll now get into another one. You'll see the person say, wow. And then that person will serve you another breakfast. So me, I am not like that. And I tell young people, I tell myself as I speak to people, because I told you yesterday that I have a YouTube channel where I talk about stuff like this. I tell people, as I'm talking to them, I'm talking to myself. I've talked about master dating before. Now listen to me. I said master dating.
Okay.
And that is about self-love, loving yourself. Absolutely. Do you take yourself out?
Yeah.
Do you love yourself? It is while you're doing that, when love finds you.
They find you in that state.
Finds you in that state. And then when it finds you in that state, you already know you love yourself. That person sees you and it radiates. And that is when you can now, you know, because what you don't even have, you can't give. Absolutely. And I think that this is a fundamental issue for so many people. It does not just start as domestic violence. It is how some people did not get, oh, I love you from the house. And then they meet this guy as a teenager. And this guy says, I love you. And then you lose your head and you don't want to go to school again. You give the person your school fees. You do this, you do that. There are so many things I cannot even take.
Let me take that call from Mrs. Zubair. Mrs. Zubair, are you there? Alaji Zubair. Thanks for calling from Malimosho.
Don't understand.
Hello, sir. Are you there? Okay, so I think we lost that call. So I love what you said, because the reason why we have this kind of conversation is to let people know that, listen, even though you're single, once you have self-worth, if you are 50 years old and you find out at the age of 55, the man starts to beat you, for your sanity and for your well-being, and even the sanity of your children.
Yes, so
you better leave and separate yourself. Because the truth is, at the end of the day, you have to leave. People die because, oh, I don't want them to say that, after 50 she's getting married. Can't you manage it? What is it? It's not just a marriage. Can't you just manage this person? It's not just one slap.
If you come close to me and see the way I take care of myself, you will even know that it's not this body you will beat. Every 2 weeks, I do my masseuse comes to the house and I do my massage. I take care of myself. Like I meditate, I refresh, I go to an open space, I take care of myself. I don't use cuckoo black, so I don't use any cream or anything, but I take care of myself. My well-being is priority, because I'm in a space where I'm helping other women get a proper health care for themselves, have a healthy self-esteem and confidence. I cannot be effective in that space if I don't have confidence and a healthy self-esteem. So if you now come and start beating me, when you finish beating me, I will now carry that energy and go and teach other women. They will get the wrong vibrations from me. So once I notice that it's no longer working, and even everybody knows that somebody like BC will carry a bar, I am out of there. And we need to, you know, this societal thing that without a man, no matter the success you have as a woman, is nonsense or is rubbish or you are nobody. We need to stop it. You are a full human being. You are not there to be a better half. You are there to complement. You are a full human being. The man is a full human being, and two of you are together to complement each other. And when it doesn't work, you can still separate and be a full human being. So find yourself, know your identity, hold your own, make your own money. See, it's not like I like too much work. I'm working for a reason, so that in case of anything, I can stand on my own.
Let me take this call from Chizoba. Good morning, Chizoba. Are you there? Good morning. I really want to hear from Nigerians today on this issue, because
in the phone line,
the fundamental question is that why are people not living? So, hello, Chizoba, are you there? Okay, let me come to you.
All right, so another thing, I hope this has not even escaped me, that I wanted to talk about. Oh my God.
Oh, I should have written it down.
But then I'll just move on. I was going to talk about, okay,
so let me go back. So today, really, I mean, the show is going to be ending soon, but I think the real crux that we wanted to find out today is, why do people still stay?
Why do you keep staying?
Because, and it's important for us to weigh all the options, understand, and be able to relate to all the options.
He came back.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right, so I was going to talk about, you know, the lady who called earlier mentioned something, and, you know, we did not actually talk about that. You know, that thing about Oh God, what's happening today? You know that yeah, you know that thing about people saying that okay, once I get married, people have that mentality. So Nigerians get married. I think Nigerians, I should use Nigerians. They get married and they think it's an ambition. You know, oh, finally, and so you think that you have achieved, you have arrived, you have. So I think they don't know that you are supposed to continue your life. Two people have come together, and then you're supposed to complement each other, and then you have a purpose as a human being.
By yourself.
And you should achieve that particular purpose. But you know that thing of, I now depend on this person, I lean on this person. And it comes in different forms. And I'll tell you, you'll find a couple, they have just gotten married, and then maybe the husband on a Sunday evening wants to go out and, you know, hang with friends. And then the woman says, I want to follow you. Follow him to where?
Can't you follow him?
Okay, so I'm not saying that you should not go together, but is it that the person cannot have his life again because the person is married?
Why do you want to follow him?
So the person cannot hang
with
so you can.
Where are you going to go and meet?
So you can have dates, you can have when you visit people, but the thing is that the person wants to hang with his friends, and then every time I want to. You cannot.
Because you and I are best friends.
Oh, because you and I are best friends.
We are best friends
So
now.
I actually believe that yes, we are married. We have what we want to achieve with the marriage, but we have separate lives. And then we have purposes, and then we should still follow this thing through.
Your life and my life joined together.
It does not come to a halt because my life and yours are joined together.
Take your call. Let me take Balogu. Good morning, Balogu. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, you people, you are doing fine.
Thank you,
You
sir.
are doing fine. Another thing, another problem I want us to look at is the issue of religion here. Our spiritual father, when they say for better, for worse, is another thing our women need to look into. For better, for worse, in a marriage that is not working, even as the man, for better, for worse, in a marriage that is not working, no pastor will ask you to walk out of that marriage. No pastor will ask you to walk out of that marriage. And things are not working well. One is dying. One is not benefiting. They will still ask you, you tolerate one another. To what extent? And you lose life. Like my sister said, it affects the children. That trauma can never be forgotten. We have so many cases. The orphanage that died, the children are there now. What comes after?
Thank you very much, because she has brought us to the for better, for worse.
Yes, religion.
That goes to religious body. But that no matter what, because, and I find a lot of time, I mean, I just got a message that will be linking out. For those of you on DSTV, on cable, we're going to be linking out to a program very soon, so you can join us on internet, on social media, on YouTube, and on our TVC app. So going back to what he was saying, religion, because many of us have gone through marriage counseling, we've gone through where we have our mentors who tell you, listen.
Do you know I did not do marriage counseling?
Yeah, I did do 3 months. You can't even marry in Redeem without marriage counseling. You have to do.
I did not do marriage counseling.
In Redeem, they will do blood tests for you when you marry to make sure you don't ever get pregnant. Because
I did not do marriage counseling. Do you know what I didn't do?
Why didn't you?
I started counseling married people from the age of 16. So I just realized that in my neighborhood, it started from my father. I got to 16, 17. He trusted me enough to tell me some things, and then his wife would report him to me. And even when I got to the university, you know, I would have, you know, elderly friends. I had a lot of elderly friends that would call me and say, this is what is going on. What do you think I should do and all that? And I would tell them what I think from my own little experience, coming from a very dysfunctional, abusive, and all those homes. And I was able to see things beyond my age at the time. And I would tell them, and it would work. And they kept coming. And that was why initially I was calling myself a love expert, love relationship expert, because I'd been doing it from my teenage years. And somehow my husband found himself in that position too when we met. So I just felt there was no need to. We just told ourselves, we're friends. No matter the issues we have, let us talk about it. Let the sun not set on our issues. And I know genuinely that we are friends. And he told me, I will never lift my hand to hit you. Shebi, that is your deal breaker. Every other thing, can you manage? You know, so I never really got into they now told me, they called me and advised me. Because one of the reasons, I'm not saying you shouldn't get advice from, you know, spiritual leaders and all that, but you have to also pay attention to where the advice is coming from. We give advice based on our filters. If peradventure I believe that divorce is a terrible sin, and you come to me and tell me you are being beaten, I will tell you, please stay in that marriage.
So that's
So
the
we
point
talk from our filters, and that's why you as a human being, when you go to get that sort of counsel, still ask yourself, how can I take, what do I take? What do I feel about this situation? Can I survive in this situation in a few years' time?
But
Use your own
guys,
brain.
I want us to weigh modernity and traditional way of doing things. You see, let's not discard the old ways all the way, because what they told us is that yes, marriage is a school. I mean,
you learn as you go.
And then you graduate.
So, and when they say that, what they're saying that you will see a lot of obstacles.
Yeah.
You see a lot of things that will make you want to run away. But stay there, because many women today who are celebrating 40 years, 50 years in marriage,
gone through stuff.
they've been through this kind of stuff. And so today they are carrying their gele, shouting, hey, Thanksgiving, we are 80 years in marriage. But if you go through what they went through, you can't go through half of it. So the question therefore is that, how do we still have modernity and yet keep some traditional ways of resilience?
I think, I don't know why.
I'll take your comment after this phone call. Good morning. Hello. Are you there? Hello.
Good morning.
You're live. Go
Mariah.
ahead, please.
Yes, thank you. It's a pleasure. Yes, I would like to let you know that I went through it for 37 years.
You went through?
Right from the marriage abuse.
Oh.
Marital abuse.
So
Sorry.
37 years.
Oh, my
From
Lord.
the third month of marriage, I started being abused.
Oh, my God.
And because I was young, I didn't really understand what it was. I just thought probably the person didn't know how to handle a woman. So I just stayed on. And then by the 9th month, I had been threatened. Physical abuse. I had to japa. I went abroad. And after a few months, it came begging. And then he also came to meet me abroad. And we were living together again. But one thing that I noticed was that he was drinking heavily. And whenever he has taken a lot of alcohol, he becomes a different person. So it was, most of his character is being induced by the alcoholic drink and probably his background. Maybe he didn't get the kind of training, or he doesn't know how to handle a woman. So I went through it, even to the extent of, I had to call police to arrest certain situations, and it
Why did you keep going back, ma? Why did you keep going back?
God bless you. I went back because I thought maybe there could be a change. The children were young. I just continued and continued. I came back to Nigeria. When we came back again, because he's in Nigeria, he has more power. He just continued to abuse me. And the verbal, the physical abuse was affecting my children. It affected my 2 children. We were not living. We were very unhappy people. And it got to a stage I said, okay, fine. After family will say, oh, stay on. The pastor will say, there is your cross. Because, people have different kinds of crosses. This one is your cross. Anyway, after 37 years, I just said, okay, my children are big and matured now. There's no use staying there anymore.
Wow.
Let me just
37 years to take that decision.
Let me try and live whatever is left
Of your life.
of my life. I am 60 now. I said, whatever is left, the special grace that God has given me, what is left, I want to live it in peace, in good health, and
mind.
happiness.
Thank you very much for sharing your story. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We heard a story from our last caller about the fact that she stayed 37 years because she thought the man would change. You're going to say something?
Yes, I was going to say before she even called that, you know, when BC was saying that you're going to pick stuff from your filter if you don't believe in divorce, for instance. I don't believe in divorce. It breaks my heart when I hear that people are divorcing. But when it comes to some certain issues, somebody is beating you, the person is going to kill you, you're being emotionally abused, you feel less of yourself and all that. I would advise the person to just leave so that you can be sane. And then she talked about, you know, she went back to that relationship or that marriage.
Kept going back.
You know, it is one thing that has happened to so many people. And even in the Bimbo's case that we used as the late Bimbo's case that we are using as a case study right now, they separated, they went back. Now, I think perhaps people will say, oh, some people change. I think adults don't, like in some things, they would never change. I'm so sorry, but they would never change. And I think that when people see some deal breakers, they should just know that, don't tell yourself that, oh, the person will change. If you know that you cannot deal with it, I think you should just always tell yourself the truth and don't go back into it, because that is what that woman has said. Now, she stayed in that marriage for 37 years. She said she's 60. And I want to really even, if she's still watching, I want to encourage her that her life is just starting. She should not think that, baby, oh, like, oh, I'm already 60.
No. But you see, I know somebody who, in their mind, listen, I have kids. You have children. I will stick around. I won't walk on eggshells, but I'll do everything to just make sure that the home is calm. My kids are grown. And then
you can
25 years, hasta la vista.
How about the kids? Are you not being selfish? Because when you look at kids in that sort of toxic relationship, now we've seen a lot of people, they will say, so it is a circle. That cycle actually goes, it repeats itself. So what I'm saying here is that when you find people come from like a polygamous family or they come from like a dysfunctional family or something, you see that they take something out. It is just very few people, perhaps only BC in the whole world that will say that, because I have experienced this, so I don't want it to happen to me, and then she detaches herself. But it is not easy. You think it is normal. All right, so it can happen in different cases. Look at R. Kelly today. See what he's done, and it's landed him in jail. And then when you go back to it, they say, oh, it was abuse, and then he carried it on. So it is what they have been exposed to. You're thinking about yourself. You're thinking about your children. Is this sane? How do we function?
So tell me, I mean, as I said, one of the crux of our conversation is to why do people stay? I'd like us to take a few messages on social media before you wrap up. Like, why do people stay?
Simon Rose here says, my mother was a victim of physical abuse for years. For that reason, I know waiting I no go take and waiting I go take. But get your own money and plan so you no go depend on anybody. Toby says, people change, we all change, but we change for ourselves, good or bad. We don't change for people. Chichi Unscripted said, I believe in divorce very well. Not believing in divorce is the reason why a lot of people are dead today. Some will soon die too. Others are living like ghosts. Iruk says, know yourself and your environment. Jojo says, they always prey on you when you are young. Same thing with Bimbo. She was too young to fall in love. 15 years old. Wow. Lord, please help our children.
Yes, so that's another angle.
Maureen says, what is important to us as an individual affects our decision. A woman may resist leaving abusive marriage if marriage is one of the most things important to them, or one thing important.
Thank you very much, Bisa. I'd like to take on that one for a second, but let me take Mercy's call. Mercy, are you there? You're live. Good morning, Mercy. Okay, I think we're having issues with our phone line. So we talked about that age, because I've always been one to advocate that you have no business, for me personally, have no business getting married before 25, 26. That's my own personal view. And I say that because, not because I don't think that a young person shouldn't marry, because I feel like many young people are not mature enough. I was very deliberate to make sure I lived. I mean, I made sure I lived. And when I say I lived, I've done a few things. That, and I now finally entered married, I'm like, you know what, done. There's nothing you can't bamboozle with anything. There's nothing you want to tell me today that I've not somewhat tasted or have an idea what it is. So I feel that maturity also comes with age. Sometimes you're young, you're 18, you're 19, you feel mature because someone like BC can say, I was mature at a young age. Yeah, there are a few people that have the maturity early, but most people don't. And it's important that you have enough maturity. It's the maturity in marriage that helps you to see the situation, assess it. Okay, this guy beats, he shouts, this is his background, there's a tendency for him. These are the kind of things I can say to tip him, to trigger his anger. Okay, I can find a way to avoid that for X amount of years.
Let me pause you, please. There's no time, so that you don't use this. You can't avoid triggering a madman or a madwoman. It's not possible because the triggers don't come from you. The triggers come from them, what they are dealing with. So they are just looking for another person to express that anger. So it's not you that is the trigger. Any other person in your situation, it could be a child, it could be a mother, it can trigger that anger. So that person has something they need to go and deal with. And I've told people, try as much as possible to raise your children well so that they don't become burdens on their partner tomorrow. We are not rehabilitation homes. I did not marry you to come and be training you. Get your training the way you don't marry me to train me. I realized very early that, okay, I understand that this man's voice is loud when he's upset and he can shout. And how do I handle this situation? By keeping quiet. So when he's shouting, I keep quiet. And for how many years of our marriage, he has said that he had never shouted and I shouted back. Because I told myself, I saw a lot. I grew up mature before I was ready to mature. It's not like I chose to be matured. But the circumstances of everything I was seeing made me wise very fast. It could have also damaged another child, that they go a different path. So as a parent, ask yourself, do I want to of environment? Any of them can pick anyone and go that way. And put yourself first. You cannot give love from an empty cup. Your cup has to be full and overflowing. It's the overflow that people will take, not from an empty cup, or else every other person who is taking from an empty cup becomes a thief. And you are rendered useless because you have nothing left. Women should hold themselves. Find who you are financially, emotionally, psychologically, and that maturity you talked about before you get into marriage.
Let me take this call from Oyinye. Good morning, Oyinye. Are you there?
I'm done speaking.
Good morning, Morayo. My name is Oyinye.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Calling from Enugu. This is my first time of calling.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Morayo. Please, I want to contribute to this thing. Like Bisi said, and like every other person, a woman needs to be doing something. When you have something that you're doing, you will not be like being skeptical about living or not living. Morayo, I am a victim of this thing. I used to work. And when I was working, everything was just moving fine, no problem, no issues. Though I used to see this domestic violence. But when I stopped working, Morayo, I saw another dimension of it. And this time around, he's not ready to apologize to you because he felt that your feeling depends on him. And Morayo, I don't know, people are talking about children living. This is saying about children living. There are things that my parents are late. I don't even have any siblings in Enugu. Okay, even if I have, when I go to their house, I will stay there, and the next thing, they will start saying issues, saying my children are making like this, the other one. Mariah, we don't stay with our good mind. We are just saying so that these kids will grow up. And secondly, let us have something doing. When you have something doing, the decision will be strong. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Oyinye, for sharing. Thank you very much for sharing that story.
So I had been talking to somebody before, and the person was like, oh, where are the family members of this person when they are going into marriage or when they're already in marriage? And somebody said, just don't leave your family members. When they have gotten married, do not say that, oh, they have been taken away. Be sure that you're checking on them. But I think that is not even enough, because I'm going to go back to this story we started from. The family members were not sleeping. They saw stuff that were, but the person involved was not ready. You can only force a horse to the river. You can't force it to drink water. So, I mean, look at that. So, I think, yeah, family members should keep checking on their family members when they have gone away, you have married them
your family
to
member
someone or something. Well, because as you said, this is in so many layers. Yeah, so many. We can't even exhaust it.
You have a family member who is beating his wife.
Yes, your family member is the abuser.
Trying to reach out to you to help.
Who you want help now?
It's like you don't even know how. And it's your older brother,
You cannot even talk to him.
There are so many layers. Let me take this call from Mercy. Mercy, are you there?
Yes, please.
You're back. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Auntie Burayo, everybody. You are doing a very good job.
Thank you.
Auntie BC, I want to come to you because there was a time I sent message to you on your Instagram that this thing, I'm going through a lot of this in my mind. You never replied to me. Then I want to say something now. You know, I'm in that situation right now. When I married, my husband was working, everything is fine. You know, he has to further his education, has his master, MBA, blah, blah, blah. Me, I'm just there, school start. He said, no, you cannot go to school. You have to stay and take care of the children. You know, when you marry Isoko man, for that matter, you know, because they have culture, they say you are not going anywhere, you are just there, you have to stay inside the house. When your mama marry your papa, what do your mama they do? Your mama they stay inside the house, they take care of the children, they cook, they wash clothes. If family member come, you go wash their clothes, you go cook, they go cross leg for parlor, they wash telly. You go they cook, they wash their clothes, they do everything. Okay, now, when we say, if you don't grow to a certain level, okay, I want to further my guy. I'm seeing life. I'm seeing things. I want this program. I want to grow myself. You say, after 3 children, where you won't go to school for? Where you won't go to school? You don't get people where don't they teach you bad things for outside. Just like that. What of situation like this? And you want to live. You don't have anything nothing to fall to. No certificate, no business, nothing. Nothing. So
Thank you, Mercy.
Yes,
Thank you, Mercy. BC, I'd like you to take that because that's a real story.
It's a real story.
Because it's easy to say be financially stable, but where you are not even empowered.
Yes, a lot of people come to me and ask that question. One of the things I do is I don't advise people because I've realized, and that's why I decided to be a life coach, which is I will help you reach your own decisions with the questions I will pose to you. And you will pay for that services because I learned it and it's not free. That's why sometimes I don't respond to some people. If you hear my advice here, you can take what works and what doesn't work. I did not talk to you personally. Do you understand? But if you come to me personally, then you will pay for a coaching session and I will help you find your solution. So a lot of people say this, but then when you start discussing with them, you realize that they are not even ready. They know what to do because they will give you the answers that they are asking you. They know what to do. But the readiness to take that action, they want you to say, go ahead. So that tomorrow they will say, it's BC that said I should do this. That's why I will not advise you. I will coach you. You will pay. You will sign contracts. You will have your own solutions written out there for you. So people should go deep within and ask themselves, what is my next level? And be willing to take the consequences. So the problem here is they want the action, but they're not willing to take the consequences. So they tell you they are confused. You are not confused. If I engage this lady now, and I say, give me this, should we drop it? Or yeah, why are you not starting? What would they say? Well, my family, my society, they are making excuses because we want the action, we want the results of the action, we don't want the consequences.
We have to wrap up.
Women should tell themselves the truth. Are you ready to have the consequences of your actions? And is a strong woman who is saying, I don't care, I'm going to do this, this is the best thing for me, and stand by the consequences.
It is hard. Yeah. It is difficult. It is. But then you have to do it if you know that if you stay back, you're going to die. Live to live. Live to live.
Right, fantastic. I think we can end with that.
Done.
Live to live. It's never an easy decision. I can understand that, and I think every woman understands that. But sometimes, as Bisi said, you know the answers to the question. It's just for you taking that decision to actually live.
To live.
Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.